Hello everyone, welcome to Power Query Basic. Today we will talk about a very simple scenario, unpivot columns, which could be super challenging in original or regular Excel. But with Power Query, we can do it in just a minute. Let's see how we can do it. Okay, this is my range of data. I have it converted into Excel table already. So right-click on any cell on the table, get data from table or range, or we may go to the data tab from table range. They are the same. They will load the table into the Power Query editor. Here we go. So let me select the columns that I want to unpivot. Right click. There we go. Unpivot columns. Click. Done. So quick. Unbelievable, right? But you may wonder, we saw there are three options for unpivot. So what are the differences? Let me show you again. First of all, remove the step. Let me select the three columns again. 1, 2, 3. The three columns. Right click. I have the unpivot columns. I have the unpivot other columns. Let me do it again with unpivot columns. When we do the unpivot columns, we need to select the columns that we want to unpivot. In this scenario, Jan, Feb, and March. Unpivot. It is done. Pay attention to the formula. The M code or the M function being used is called table unpivot other columns. Interesting. Okay, let me try the second option. So the second option is select the column I want to state. I want to unpivot all other columns. So that's why I'm selecting two columns here. Right click, unpivot other columns. Exactly the same result. When we look at the formula bar here, exactly the same functions. The M function is also tabled unpivot other columns. So you may wonder why we have two different options, right? Think about a situation like you have a table of 100 columns. 100 columns. So it doesn't make sense to select 98 columns to do the unpivot. In that scenario, it makes perfect sense to select only two columns and unpivot the other. Make sense? Yes, that makes sense to me. Then what is the last option? Okay, let me show you. But let me unpivot other columns first. I keep this. Let me rename this query, and then we will come back to see what are the differences. So this is other columns, okay? Unpivot other, unpivot. Okay, so let me duplicate this, and let me rename it unpivot selected columns. Okay, so let me do that, but let me remove the step here. Select Jan, Feb, March, right click, unpivot only selected columns. The result is exactly the same. However, the M code is different. The function here is table unpivot. The columns that it is looking into is Jan, Feb, March. That means every time when we refresh the data, it will only unpivot these three columns, nothing else. So what are the differences? When you have no, or if you are not anticipating any new columns in your dataset, you can select any one. But if you are going to have additional columns, then this one doesn't work. Let me show you. But before I show you, let me load it, close and load. So I have by default send the query loaded into connection only. Now let me unhide. I have some new data for April, and April comes, then we have new data. So you know what? With refresh, we should have new data to be unpivot. Let's see if that is the case. So here, I don't see any data of April yet because I have to click this refresh preview. Bam, I have the April data here. Because the query here is unpivot other columns. So wherever we have new columns added to the table, it will got unpivot. And then this one, unpivot selected columns only. When I refresh this preview, I've got the column here, April. It is not being unpivot because that is not part of the formula. That is the major difference. So be mindful which one you will select when you try to do the unpivot columns in Power Query. I hope you like this because this is super handy. Thank you.